You got to be in the trenches. I think that's why our crew works well, is because we're with them. Look at my hands. I'm on the job site every day. We're not just sitting in the office.
Today we're going to be talking with Matt Stanley, who's with the boys at American Pavement Specialist. You can check out his YouTube channel at American Pavement and his merchandise at raisedonblacktop.com, where they've got some high-quality hats, shirts, and other gear. And if you want to learn about paving, you should really check out their YouTube channel. Now, not only are those videos documentary style and fun to watch, but this guy knows a heck of a lot about paving and paving equipment, as you're about to find out. So let's give welcome to Matt Stanley. Hello, Matt.
How you doing, Troy? Thank you for having me.
Hey, I'm doing great, and thanks for being here. Now, tell everybody first where you are located.
So we are up in Danbury, Connecticut right now. We've been
Danbury, Connecticut.
Right. We're about an
Okay.
hour outside of New York City.
Oh, okay.
hmm
Okay.
hmm
Yeah, I've flown up into Connecticut several times, going over to Massachusetts, over to Springfield. So, yeah, beautiful country up there.
Yeah, it is.
Beautiful.
It is.
So how long have you been in the paving business?
So, fortunate for me, I've been in the paving business as long as I could go to work with my dad, I should say. My grandfather started a paving business in the 50s, and that's who my father learned the trade from. Worked for his father up until he was almost about 30 years old, and he made the tough decision to go out on his own.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was growing up, my father owned his own paving business. So as soon as I was potty trained, I got to go to work with dad. So I'm fortunate in that manner. We're four boys in the business. So my father owns it,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's four
Okay.
brothers, and my mother and
Gotcha.
father own it together. So we get the real family
Okay.
dynamic going on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I had the same thing years ago. We had a garment supply business, and unfortunately, that business folded up out of our country. But yeah, I worked for my dad for
Oh
12
wow!
years and loved every minute. I actually felt like I got a much better college education from him than I got from college.
They say that's the best business
I
here
learned
is
a
the
lot.
family business, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And nobody can chew your butt out like your dad.
Oh my God. Amen.
Well, it sounds like motivation and hard work are terms that are tossed around a little too easily these days. But it seems like you and your family and your crew, there's no joke here. You guys have a really tight ship, and the results are showing. So there's so many pavement contractors out there. Why do you feel like people come to you guys?
I would say it's because we're a family owned and operated business. We're about 20 of us all together, which a lot of people think we have a lot more employees than we do. But we run a tight ship. We're lean and mean. And a cool thing about our business is I'm 28 years old, so I'm the youngest brother, and my oldest brother's 35 years old. So at any time on a job sites, we always have someone in our family on a job. So if there's any issues, usually we have a family member on the job, a foreman on the job, and those issues are taken care of. But we're lean and mean, and we get done work fast, and we do quality work. So I think that's what keeps people coming back.
That's awesome. Customer service is king, no matter how you look at it. Yeah. So, in your opinion, over the last several years since you have been into this, what kind of changes have you seen for good and for bad in the paving industry?
I could tell you off the top of my head, I think the work, new construction, it's getting tougher. The job specs are getting tougher. I know with our customers, the deadlines are always it's becoming more stressful and more stressful as the years go by. Um, I'd say specifically though, on a new construction job, it's there's a lot of new specs going out. So like a handicap needs to be 2% in a handicap area. A lot of these parking lots they have 1% pitch on them, which is basically a flat parking lot, which looks good on paper, but it's very hard to put out in the real world. Luckily, we have good equipment. We invest tons of money in our equipment. We always have brand new equipment, so we're able to put out a good product every time. But I could say that it seems like the jobs are getting more intricate. every year. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's because we're growing as a business, but that's what I've seen.
Right. So speaking of those type jobs, what is maybe one of the more interesting or unusual jobs that you guys have done?
Oof. Um, I'd say we've early in the season we did a few parking garages. So, you know, you have a 7 foot, 8 foot clearance in a parking garage, and to a normal person, they don't even realize, you know, how do these things get paved? So we've been contracted to go in these parking garages and do, you know, 50,000 square feet, and you got to mill it off and pave it back. And with a 7 foot clearance, it's really tough. That means you're dumping blacktop outside, which means the blacktop may be getting cold, and you got to bring it in with little machines and dump it in the paver. Jobs like that, those are always fun. But we've been working on a lot of developments lately. Um, we work for a company called Toll Brothers. I don't know if there's any Toll Brothers in Nashville, but in or in Tennessee where you're at. But these are big developments, 250 units. So it's a lot of people you have to please in there, and it's always on a tight schedule, and it's a lot going on in a small area, and we've been pumping out a lot of those. So those are always all hands on deck. They take a lot of scheduling and a lot of planning. So.
So, what would, let's say, in the last year, of course, or last 2 years, with all the COVID and all the things we've had going on, what's one of the biggest jobs that you guys have probably done the last couple of years?
Last year at the end of the season, we did a an Amazon warehouse facility. I was in Southington, Connecticut. We got this job late in the season. It's a funny story. We got this job off a contractor who found us on Instagram. Believe it or not, a massive job. Yeah, and it's a 6,000 ton job. So it was over 300,000 square feet. It's pretty big. And we got this job in November. We started it, which our paving season, November and December are always weather permitting. So our asphalt plants usually close maybe second week in December, but you know you can catch a cold front in November and it can snow and some of the plants start closing. So it was a big risk starting the job in November. But we were fortunate that we caught some good weather and we were able to bang it out. This was a very it's a large area, so you know they this Amazon warehouse had 700 vans that they had to come in and out every morning and every night. So that's another job that took a lot of planning to have, like, you know, this area needs to get pleated today so that the vans, 700 vans, can come back on it that morning. So if that doesn't get done that day, then you know it's a snowball effect. It can mess things up.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I've heard of Amazon. I know who
Yeah,
they are. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
They're on my doorstep every stinking day, I
yeah.
think.
Jeff's
Seems
everywhere.
like. Yep. Yep. So let's talk a little bit about equipment. Tell us about the raised on blacktop special edition LeeBoy 8616D. Why the 8616 and not the 8520?
Oh, good question. So when this project launched, we were thinking about maybe doing a raised on blacktop edition for a few models in the LeeBoy line. We wanted to do maybe an 8500, which is a smaller commercial paver, an 8520, which is like a mid-size. These are all, I guess they're all considered small commercial pavers, but an 8500 is smaller. 8520 is like a medium size. And 8616D, which is a new model they have, is the biggest model they have. Um, so this project was launching and COVID came around. So obviously there's supply chain issues, and LeeBoy decided to stick with just doing 8520B as for the public. That's their best selling paver. It made sense. It turned out great. We have over almost 40 of them sold throughout U.S. and Canada. But when it came to our machine, we already planned on buying the 8616 before this project was announced. So LeeBoy did us a solid, and they made us a one of one special edition 8616D. The reason we picked this machine, it's it's the largest LeeBoy they make. So not only could it handle any commercial lot, but we could bring this machine out on a roadway, and you're not necessarily going to be paving highways with it, but we pave a lot of city roads, a lot of municipalities. We have like 3 municipality contracts. Um, So when our big Vogela paver, which is a highway class paver, when that's not available, or if that's 50 miles away on another job, we could bring this LeeBoy out, which is a lot easier to transport and it can handle everything we've thrown at it. And we are super happy with this machine. It's a beast. That a beast is the perfect word for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you guys have had a really good long run with LeeBoy, and they have supported you well.
They have. They have.
Hey, we hope you're enjoying our show, and if you are, we would appreciate it if you would help us out. Crush that like button, hit the subscribe, and be sure notifications are on so you'll be notified whenever we release a new podcast, guide, or compilation. We appreciate the support, and now let's get back to the show. So if somebody is new, they're starting out, they're coming into this game, what piece of equipment would you recommend they start with?
If they're new in the paving business and don't have any equipment,
Yeah, exactly. What do they need to get started?
so back in the day, that's how my father didn't have anything when he started. He got a truck, and that a truck and a roller is what you really need because technically you can do blacktop by hand. So if you're going to start small, you're going to need at least I'd say a six-wheeler truck, which is something you could put between 8 to 10 ton of asphalt on, which is you could probably do a small driveway with that amount. You can definitely do some patching with that amount, and then you're going to need a roller. A good roller to start with is a Whacker Nelson RD12, which is a small roller. It's something that's easy to transport. You could put it on a little trailer. Um, you know, when you start out, it's important that you just don't buy big equipment because you got to think of how you're going to haul this stuff around. Like I mentioned, the little roller, you could put that on a little landscape trailer and tow it behind a pickup. Okay. Um, I don't know if someone wanted to start and buy some big equipment, you're not hauling that around a pickup. You're going to need a 25-ton trailer. You're going to need a dump truck, which gets a little costly. I'd say nowadays, with these rental companies, United Rental, you could just go rent a paving machine and rent a truck, and you know, that's definitely it's going to be more expensive, but you could go that route, and it's going to cut into your profits a little bit. But I guess it would be on how small you want them to start, But I would say you can get a little six-wheeler truck, get a roller, and you can start doing some handwork with a wheel and a shovel and a rake.
There's nothing wrong with starting by hand.
Yeah, yeah,
That's how a lot of people get their go, right?
right, absolutely.
And you just said that's how the folks started out. That's how they did it, So that's yeah. If you got to start that way, it's the way you start. It's
Yeah.
the way it works. It's been mentioned that you say that you buy service, and we couldn't put that any better. How did you come to that philosophy? Was that from a bad experience you had, or where did that phrase come from?
I think anybody in any business can relate to that. I mean, you can relate it to going to a restaurant, right? A restaurant might not have the best food, but if they have good service, you're going to go there. Um, we like to buy local in the equipment world. Um, you know, you have to buy equipment from your regional dealership. So our LeeBoy dealership, which is W.R. Clark, they're an hour away, which is not too bad. It sounds like it's far, but in the equipment world, that's not too bad. About maybe 5 years ago, there was a equipment dealer in Danbury. They're no longer here, but it was called Air Bar Equipment. They were right in Danbury. So when they took on some paving brands, we had a great relationship with them. They were a family-owned business. So we would, we take a chance on another paving brand that we never used before because they're local. You could pop right in and get a part if you need to. Obviously now with COVID and getting parts, it's ridiculous. So being able to get parts when you're down, um, and service wise, it's when your machine's down, you're losing money. You know, so that's a big thing that you got to keep these machines on the road.
Right, right. Now, I know we touched on a little bit before about your crew, and definitely better than most we've seen, if not the best. Tell some of these newer guys out there listening how important it is to have that solid crew.
It's everything. Your crew is everything. We're fortunate that we've had a lot of the same guys. We're able to retain employees. My father has his first employee that he's ever had. He's been working with us for almost 28 years now. So that says something about what kind of boss he is. I think I would like to, tell people that if you want to keep a good crew, um, you got to do more than just point. You starting out especially. You got to be in the trenches. I think that's why our crew works well is because we're with them. Look at my hands. I'm on the job site every day. We're not just sitting in the office or pulling up in a truck and saying you got to do this, you got to do that. Nor does my father, which is he owns a multi-million-dollar business, has men that can do the whole job, and he chooses to be on the job every day. Obviously, he pops around because he has to take care of other things. Um, but that's the way we run our crew. We you ever see the picture of the boss pointing like that, and then the leader, going ahead? That's really our business model, I would say.
It's good. That's good. That's excellent. So, do you get involved in the hiring if somebody has to be hired? Do you all of you guys get involved together, or how do you do that?
Um, I'd say my father has the final say and does the final sit down. But a lot of times when we take on new people, it's people that we know, usually people that me and my brothers know, or people that are interested in a job. I'd say a lot of people are saying this now that they're hiring people with no experience. That's something that we've always done from day one. As long as you want to be there and you can get up in the morning and you're willing to learn and start from the bottom, we'll take you no problem. Um, I could probably count on one hand how many people we've hired with experience because they sometimes they come in with bad habits. They say, we used to do things this way, or
Mm,
I can't work with this person. We don't deal with that. Um, we like to hire young kids and keep them on. And it's a funny thing. A lot of the employees say, the first thing my father asked them was, "Do you want a job or do you want a career?" You know,
good
so
point.
yeah.
Good point.
So we try to find people with that mindset.
Right. And it's I've always found in my career when I was in manufacturing that it was you could a lot of times you would hire for character and you would hire for personality and a fit. How could they take direction? Would they work hard? The character, the morale. You can teach them a lot of things. If people have all those things going for them as a person, you can bring them along and teach them the other stuff.
I agree. If you can get it, obviously the crew has to get along, but I'd say the biggest thing, if they want to be there, I can teach anybody how to do this. I can. That's just the way we roll. Whether we're going to be on the job training them nonstop, I feel like we're always training a new guy nonstop. Um, and just mix with that. If as long as they want to be there, they're going to learn quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's definitely a great approach. I know a lot of the viewers out there are going to be interested after they hear this in starting their own business. So, what are some of the mistakes that either you've heard your folks talk about or that you made when you got into this business? What are some of the little simple mistakes you might could share that they could avoid?
Ah, oof. So I don't want to speak for my father. Obviously, he started this business. I totally say I've never started a paving business on my own. But I do know one thing: the way we've grown this business is we didn't just try to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We focused on being the best. That's been our business model. Be the best you can. Put out the best work. Your reputation's going to take care of itself. And as you grow, as you take care of your customers, um, your business will expand. Um, we, yeah, we're all on, repeat customers. That's the way we roll.
Right. Yep. Customer service is king. I think
Yep.
we already said that.
And,
Hey Matt, before we go, tell us about raisedonblacktop.com. I mean, this gear looks top quality.
yeah, raisedonblacktop.com. I officially probably started it about 2 years ago. Um, I started it in my bedroom, just messing around. I bought a heat press, and I was tired of going down to t-shirt shops and saying, I can't put this on, or this is going to take a month to do. So I started making t-shirts in my bedroom, and obviously with social media, I mean, you can expand things so quickly. So Raised on Blacktop It represents hustle. It represents hard work. It represents getting up early and making a living. On our website, we have everything from baby onesies to decals to hats to hoodies. We're coming out with a new line right now. So I don't know if you know about this, Troy. Um, so our paving business is from April to December. Okay, typically up in the Northeast. So what we call from September to December, that's our fourth quarter. That's the fourth quarter for most businesses. We call that the playoffs. Okay, this is the playoff time for us. This means that we're going to be working late. Our crews might be a little smaller because we need to make more crews and spread them out a little bit. And that's been our way to kind of get everyone together and do that final push. So we have a new line coming out called the paving playoffs, we call it. So we're going to have playoff logos on everything. We got hoodies coming out, button-ups, a whole line of new stuff coming out, and it should be out in about a week.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Well, Matt, we can't thank you enough for your time and even more for sharing as much as you have about the business, passing along this advice. And we want to invite everybody to go visit raisedonblacktop.com. Get your playoff hoodie now. It'll be out soon. And check out all their gear. And be sure and leave a review as we launch these videos and podcasts. And be sure to comment about other topics and areas of interest you'd like to hear us cover. And be sure and join us next time. Matt, thank you so much for being with us. Any last bit of advice you want to pass along to all these wonderful listeners?
Work hard, stay humble. For anyone that listened the whole time, we're going to give you a special promo code, 20% off. Put in the promo code friends and family, all lowercase. Friends and family, 20% off all your orders.
Hey, you heard it right here. Go to raisedonblacktop.com. Friends and family, all lowercase, 20% off. Thanks everybody for listening, and we will see you next time.